friends, this is Thaddeus from Going Nerdy, and today some of you might be asking yourself, who is Embo and why should I care? Now, what I want to do is I want to start out this video and really help you to understand the character that is Embo, and quite possibly one of the best bounty hunters during the Clone Wars and towards the end of the Empire. Now, for those of you who haven't done anything with Star Wars ever, spoiler alert! There will be some pretty minor spoilers for stuff like Empire's End, which is in the Aftermath trilogy, also in Clone Wars and Dark Disciples, but I'll keep them to a minimum as best I can. For those of you who don't know who this character, Embo was a male Kyuzu bounty hunter who operated primarily during the Clone Wars. Now, he left his home planet in search of a career in male modeling. It didn't work out. He ended up on Coruscant. Wait, hold on. Nope, that's all Legends material. It's no longer relevant. Now, for what we do know, in current canon, he worked with groups like Cad Bane's, Sugi the Zabrak, the Hutt clan, and Boba Fett, right? And officially it's called Boba Fett's Bounty Hunter Syndicate, which in my mind sounds like a circus attraction or a carnival attraction, but they were pretty top-notch bounty hunters. Now, Embo was originally seen in the 17th episode of Season 2 of Clone Wars called Bounty Hunters. He was part of a gang or a bounty hunter gang, that ended up protecting this village from, like, the notorious Hondo Ohnaka. Now, the whole episode takes place on the planet Felucia. This is a lot of fun. It's a pretty fun episode because it's got Hondo in it, and Hondo is wonderful. And this is like before Hondo made his kind of change over to not a criminal. I mean, Hondo was always a criminal, but he's less of a criminal now, in my mind. Maybe he's just more charismatic and still a criminal. Who knows? But this video's not about Hondo. Sorry, Hondo. In this episode, it's essentially a Seven Samurai homage, right? It is a group of 7, skilled warriors teaching a village how to defend itself, to protect itself, right? And it's really well done. It's a really fun story arc, and it kind of shows how this initial group, and this is Sugi the Zabrak's bounty hunter group, it shows how effective they are and how skilled they are, and it shows kind of a series of a number of different types of bounty hunters that are out there. Not just, the head, not just the Boba Fett's, not just all the other ones that we know, the Cad Banes and stuff like that. It shows that there was more to bounty hunters than just the, go and kill them, catch them, so on and so forth. He made a number of other appearances throughout the Clone Wars. We saw him take on Anakin Skywalker as he tried to kill Rush Clovis and, essentially attacked Padme, which you don't do with Anakin. That's just not smart. Additionally, he worked for the Hutts, where during his time with Hutts, he took on Darth Maul, or at that time was just Maul, which with Savage Opress. This is what kind of led up to the Mandalorian story. He was eventually hired in the novel Dark Disciple by Asajj Ventress to rescue, spoiler, Quinlan Vos from Count Dooku. Now, for those of you who have not read Dark Disciple or listened to it, do it. Do it now. It is phenomenal. It is a solid book, and it does make you wonder what happened to Quinlan Vos after Order 66. We don't necessarily know. We just assume that he died, but he might not have. Quinlan didn't have a ton of clone troopers around him, so we don't necessarily know about, the rogue Jedi, because that's what Quinlan Vos was. It's a solid book, but in this book, he and Boba Fett and a series of other bounty hunters take on Count Dooku in an attempt to rescue Quinlan, and it is awesome. It is a really cool battle scene, cool fight scene where he's talked about. We also see Embo in the book Aftermath, Empire's End. Now, this book takes place towards the end of the Empire, right? So this is a much older Embo. We assume that he's had a series of kind of unfortunate events, because Embo, at this point, he's working with Dengar, and he's working for the Black Sun Syndicate because he's in debt and he needs to be able to kind of like pay off bills or something like that. But he runs into a character called Jazz Amari. Now, Jazz Amari was is the niece of Sugi the Zabrak. So, Jazz is Zabrak as well. And so there's this back and forth between Jazz Amari and Embo. And initially Embo, catches her, and, they are going to bring her back to the huts the huts are ruthless and they're crappy slug creatures. But Embo, who was a man bound by honor, who was a character bound by honor, realized that what he was doing for Jas, or what he was doing to Jas, wasn't necessarily the right thing to do. And so eventually he comes to his senses and, frees Jas. She goes on to save the planet Jakku. The world doesn't blow up. And the Empire, ends. Hence the book title, Empire's End. Again, another solid book series. If you guys want to read a book, I really do suggest these three: Aftermath, Life, Debt, and then Empire's End. Great, great trilogy. Really solid. It's one I'm going to be listening to again coming in the next coming months. What's cool about this is because Embo and I think Dengar and a few others helped Jas free the planet of Jakku, the New Republic actually pardons Embo. So no longer is he a bounty hunter on the wrong side of the law. So we don't know what takes place with Embo after this. And so it's his story is really kind of a funny one. I'm really curious to know, because obviously he's going to go back to bounty hunting because that's what he does best. Now, unlike many other bounty hunters, Embo is all about blasters and, fighting. He is a ninja with a gun, right? And when I say gun, he carries a bowcaster, which is really freaking sweet, because up until this point, the only people I've seen carry a bowcaster was like Chewbacca and Wookiees. But he is deadly with a bowcaster. And he's got this really cool, hat, which is awesome. Freaking love it. I should wear a hat like that to cover my bald head. But he wears this really cool hat. It's metal brimmed, and he uses it both as a weapon and as a shield, as you see in some of the clips. He is just a solid character, and he's one that's really kind of interesting, because he's not, especially early on in his career, as far as we can tell, as far as the canon alludes to, he's ruthless. He is absolutely ruthless. We don't feel like he doesn't feel bad about killing or bringing people in. If he is hired for a job, he does it. He lives by a code, and it's really kind of cool. It's really pretty impressive. But towards the end, it's really, I don't know, it's really fun, and it's really curious. Again, if you want to read more about this character, you can check out Wikipedia. A lot of the information that I got from this video is from there, and from the other places that I've read. Embo is a solid character, and I really feel like his story is tragic, but I don't think we'll ever get to see what that looks like. I think Embo's not a character that will ever show up in the forefront of any film, but it would be really cool if he did. I don't know. I just don't think we're there yet as a society to get, an alien film or a film all about just a near human. I think it'd be cool. But I just don't see it happening. I mean, if we do get one, it'd probably be about like the Wookiees, but who knows? We definitely won't get one about the Ewoks. People don't like the Ewoks enough. But with that, guys, the reason I do this video is because if you are a fan, if you are a player, a hollow table hero for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, then Embo is the latest bounty hunter being added to the game. And kind of understanding his backstory can kind of give you an edge, not an edge, but at least more of an appreciation of who he is as a bounty hunter and who he's worked with in the past, who his connections are. I really do like his story. I do like the character. I think he's a lot of fun. Will he be solid in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes? We shall see. Now, this video wasn't meant to be like this full in-depth, biography of this character. It is just meant to answer the question, who is Embo? Now, hopefully you have a little bit of better understanding. If this helps you in your Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes appreciation, or if it just helps you in this Star Wars appreciation. I think it's awesome. Now, could we see him in the Clone Wars episodes? Unlikely is my feeling, but it's possible. We shall see. I do think we'll probably start seeing our first full-on trailers in the coming months, but we don't have them yet. That being said, guys, what do you think about this character, Embo? Do you like him? Do you know anything about him? Leave a comment in the section below. Like, subscribe, share. This has been Thaddeus from Going Nerdy, and as always, my friends, stay nerdy.